Same one. Okay, so I am live and I just realized that I was not talking this whole time. So I'm going to start from the beginning. So Sunday here, sorry I was late. I literally was talking for 20 minutes and talking and going through this whole thing with you all. So I'm going to start over. I just realized I was not going live. So welcome, welcome. Sorry to be late. And for those that are here, welcome for joining me live. I'm super excited about the what we're going to be going over today, which is going to be the TravelJoy features that have been released. The last time I did this was back in January of this year, so it's been 5 months that TravelJoy has been busy as a bee doing their new features. And so if you don't know about TravelJoy and the fact that they do keep track of their features, all you have to do is inside of this document, I've also included a link inside here. If you see this link, this is a link to this document that I'm going over, which is the TravelJoy new features. This will take you to what is new in TravelJoy. And so they keep a running list of what's new. Every new feature that they release, they add this to their what's new list, and that is available to you. So all you have to do is just, bookmark this. They also send out emails to let you know when they've released a new feature, but sometimes I miss those emails. So I try to keep in habit of just kind of keep track of what's coming out and what they've released. Here, so I check it about once a month. And so we're going to go over some of their hottest new features that they've released over the last several months, primarily 2 of the most amazing features that I love that really, I think, make TravelJoy set themselves apart as the choice solution for travel advisors. Now, you could still be team, I don't like TravelJoy, or I do like TravelJoy, but really with these 2 neat features that they've had, it really does allow them to be one of the premier choice providers in terms of CRM for the travel advisor. So let's hop to it. Before I do, let me introduce myself for those who may be new to me. My name is Sunday Gardner. I am a lead trainer and founder of the Online Travel Boss School, where we focus on teaching students and our travel advisors how to launch and operate successful and profitable travel businesses. And so TravelJoy is the solution that we train to currently around operating your client bookings and your travel requests. So we're going to go over some of their new features that really impact the way that you manage client bookings. So let's hop to it. We're going to start with their latest feature that actually, it's not the latest feature. This is the second to the latest feature. They just did a training last week on the release of their group management beta features that you can do. And so what really is it allows you to manage your group bookings a lot better than you could before. So prior to these additional enhancements that they've made to group management, things you could do some of the things, you couldn't do some of the things, but what I will tell you is I really do think that this is the slickest set of features that I've seen on group management on a tool in a while. And I've evaluated several tools, particularly over the last 6 months in this space. And I do really like what I see in terms of these features. So we do not have the time for me to go through each and every feature because I could literally spend an hour just going over the group booking. So as soon as they make available the training that they did last week, I will include a link in this document to that training so you can have it. It'll also be available inside of TravelJoy, inside of this list of new features link that I provided here. But I do want to highlight and I want to showcase at least a couple of those features so that you can see. I want to also demonstrate where you can see the feature just in case you may not see it and you didn't know where it was. All right, so let's just talk about some of the major things that you can do now and do a lot better than you could before. You can combine 2 or more roommates, so 2 bookings that are separate. You can combine them together and put them in the same room. That's a new feature add. You can also split people up who are roommates and split them off. You can add somebody to a room and have them be on their own invoice. That's one way that you can do. You can manage roommate invoices together or separately. You can change a room type. So let's say you're doing a cruise and you've got somebody in a balcony and you want to, everybody who's in a balcony, they're going to get a free upgrade to a suite. You do all of that in one step. So that's a pretty cool addition. You can cancel a booking that's inside of your group without major effort now. You can also export traveler and rooming lists. You could do that before, but the interface is just a lot slicker now too. You can also track invoices and balance due. You could do that before, but again, the interface is a lot slicker. So let's jump into exactly what this looks like. So I also included inside of this document a link to the help. And if you click on this link, you'll see this will actually walk you through exactly what each one of those features are and how to do that. Like I said, we don't have the time to go over each of those features, but what I do want to do is I want to show you using my my actual group booking as an example so that you can see. So you actually need to be, if you're at the dashboard, you actually need to be in a group booking. So I'm actually going to go to our upcoming group trip. That's here. You're going to go to group status, and then you're going to go to manage group, and it'll be in this manage group beta. That's how you get to this feature. And then it'll show you the view a little bit different than the way that you could see it before. So you can see things by traveler, you can see things by room, or you can see things by package. And so inside of that, you can see when you're in by traveler, you can change people's, you can combine travelers together. Again, we don't have the time for me to show you exactly how to do that, but you can do those features, which is really cool. I do like the fact that the way that they show you all of the information is a lot slicker than the original version. I also like the fact that if I wanted to edit this particular package, I could edit the name, also move everybody in that into a different category. So you can do all of that inside of this new manage group beta functionality. You can view the forms, and then you can also, so all the forms that everybody has seen, I think you could have done that before. I'm going to choose the form. I think we only have a couple of forms that are associated with this group record, but you can see all of their information. I'm not going to do that since this is a real live. You can view the bookings. You can see all the bookings that everybody has made. And then this is also where you can add bookings and that kind of stuff. So the only thing that I will tell you with this group functionality that I think is kind of missing is you cannot still see, and this is sort of the issue, if you manually add a booking to your group record, it does not show up in the list in terms of being able to manage the invoices and the room list and that kind of stuff. So this is what I always tell my students and clients is if you have a group booking, don't ever manually add anybody. Always give out the link, because then you have to separately manage the manual ads that you do. You want to make sure that your group bookings, the people that are coming into the group, that they're all coming into via the link, the group booking page. So they haven't solved for that sort of disconnect. But that's really the only thing I don't like about it still, is just the fact that manual added people are sort of treated like stepchildren. And there's no reason to treat manual ads as stepchildren. So other than that, I give this feature a huge thumbs up. I do like the functionality. I do like the way it's laid out. I do think it's there. Why do you care about it? Because it's just improved group management. If you are doing heavily groups inside of your travel business, just the ability to manage and see your participants, move people around the way you want, communicate with people the way you want. the more flexibility you can have in that, the better you end. And I do think that they've done a really good job of adding these features. There's still more, I think, that can be done, but I do think that this is a really good first major update to the group functionality in a while. This is a really well done update. So that's that. Then the next feature is one of my favorites, because I really don't use. The one feature that I really like is really well done in terms of their smart proposal. I love their smart proposal because it looks sexy. So, but it created the necessity of having a next step, which is it didn't automatically create a booking. Like, you could do a smart proposal. If you didn't have group funds collected, you had to then still create an invoice. You still had to do all of this extra stuff unless you had the group funds turned on. And you didn't have an itinerary. So I just didn't use the smart proposal feature at all, because I was like, I'm just going to create a group booking page. Now, with the introduction of an itinerary, all of that is awesome, because now I can do a smart proposal. It automatically converts to itinerary that then automatically goes into the trip, right? So the smart proposal conversion process is awesome. Not to mention, for your existing bookings, you can create itineraries, and then, oh my God, they also have live flight tracking. So this is like the biggest, like when I'm listening to advisors talk about the biggest complaint with TravelJoy, comparing it to TravelJoy, was the fact that TravelJoy had flight tracking and nobody wanted to give that up. Well, I really think that TravelJoy has made themselves a heavy contender in the space by adding live tracking. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So I already have an itinerary built, and I do want to show you some little cool features that I love about this itinerary. It looks very much like the smart proposal that you have if you are familiar with the smart proposal feature. So it looks very similar. The way that you work it is very similar, but the difference is this is an itinerary. You can add items, you can add sections, you can save your items, your itinerary items to your library, reuse them, which is great. So if you always do this one thing, if you know, like, you're going to be having this particular activity available all the time, you can save those itinerary items. So I love that. Your proposal items are available in your itinerary items, so I love that as well. But really, the cat's meow is the itinerary itself, but then also this flight live tracking, which is cool. So I've added this flight number for Emirates, the date, the departing time, live tracking is on. And so when I show you the itinerary, what you're going to be able to see is that itinerary will actually have the status of, and the terminal that trip, that itinerary is planned for. I think I already have it up. So this is the actual link to the itinerary. And the way you get to the link is simply when you share itinerary, you click on copy link, and then you'll be able to get the link. Or you can send the itinerary, which is what I would recommend that you do, is send the itinerary. When you click on the itinerary, send the itinerary as an email to your client. So for those of you that have our client booking automation training, which I don't know that I fully have let that out of the bag, but if you're a gold member, that is already in your dashboard in the Online Travel Boss School. I am going to be adding this as a step, which means that you build the itinerary and then you send the itinerary, and you'll want to send a link to the itinerary to your clients as part of your workflow. So you literally can send it. And I think when I was recording, and when I thought I was going live, I sent it to myself. So I'm going to go to my email. I'm going to show you what it's going to look like for your client. So I sent this as a test to myself, and I didn't edit the email, but literally it's now here. They can keep this email and they'll be able to view the itinerary. And this itinerary is always going to be live with the flight information and their trip. So this is definitely something that you're going to want to add to your workflow, is building an itinerary for each of your trips, have flights turned on, and you can see. I really think that the itinerary is just as sexy as the proposal. So like I said, I think it's a really good, great feature that TravelJoy has added. You can edit these images. This is at the trip level that I've got here, but you can edit the images when you're actually in the itinerary. I could edit this image, this background image for this particular itinerary. So you don't even have to inherit the image that's at the trip level. You can have a very specific itinerary image if that's what you wanted to do. I have been playing around with the images that I attach at the activity level. What I will tell you is when you're actually viewing the itinerary, you can see here as I scroll down, I don't have an image for this one, but I did have an image here. If you design this image here that is at the itinerary activity level, at the line item level, to be the same size as a banner in TravelJoy, which is 1200 by 300, you really can make some really slick images there. So you can make this look really cool. This particular image is not 1200 by 300, but it just happens to fit properly. These are my standard squares, so that's the reason why they're not showing up. So we haven't gone through and created all those special sized images. I was playing with this last week and I did this one. This is 1200 by 300 and it fits really well here. I was able to create a message on the top here. And, you know, that's kind of the stuff that I would do is I would play with the images so that they would look really slick with the itinerary. If you're not really into that thing, it's not necessary. You don't need to do all that. But I am into all that. I like to have I like to name my days. I like to have a theme for every day. And so what we will do is create images. This is how you really make your stuff stand out. So I could do a whole training just on that in and of itself. So this just looks really good. And, you know, your client can download the itinerary. But what I will tell you is anytime you create a static version of the itinerary, obviously the live flight information is not available. So I would tell them they could download, but you know, this would be great to download after they're already in location, right? Or something like that. But if they want to know their flight status and all of that, they're going to want to make sure that they're actually looking at the linked version. And so what I will also, this is something I didn't know, I guess I should have known. When you're in the itinerary, or when you're in TravelJoy, people are always asking, you know, TravelJoy, are you going to have a mobile app? And what I learned in their training is they are already mobile friendly. And this is demonstrated by me changing the size of the screen, and you see how it automatically shrinks down. The pictures shrink down, everything shrinks down. So it is already mobile enabled and it's already an app. So there's not a necessity for you to download a separate app and then have a TravelJoy app, because it's already designed as an app in the way that they've published it. So that was really a good aha thing I didn't realize about TravelJoy. So it's already mobile enabled and it's already mobile friendly. So everything is already going to be sized for whatever device that your client is going to be on. So that's really good to know as well. Once your client is in there, they can ask a question, they can bookmark this, save it, and then that can be their go-to. So again, I would utilize your client's itinerary link in the communication for emails. All right, so that is that feature. Feel free, if you have any questions, to just pop a question inside of the comments and I'll answer them as we go or at the end. All right, so that is that feature. And so I just want to reiterate, why do you care? Well, oh my God, because we got live flights. We got live flights. So, you know, I do feel like there's I love healthy competition, right? So, you know, their competitor released another feature, and I suspect that TravelJoy will come with another feature like hotel integration, and do some more supplier integration touch points. But the flight integration is a great starting point, and then also the ability to have this itinerary feature for each of your records. The only other thing I will say about itineraries too is if you are doing largely groups, they do not have a group itinerary. So this was, I submitted this feature last week. I was like, listen, I got, 10 people, it's not a very large group, but it's still the same. I got to create 10 separate itineraries. So itineraries right now for TravelJoy live at the trip level. So you may have a group, but each individual is a trip. You will have to create an itinerary for each of the people on the trip. However, you can copy the itinerary. I have not tested that part yet, but once I get this Dubai, I will be testing that. And then maybe I'll just do a little small recording and let you know what I think about the copying of the itineraries to multiple trip records inside of my group. All right, so that takes care of flights, lodging, activities. You can add all sorts of things to your itinerary, very easy to do. And again, you can create libraries. All right, so then let's talk about this next feature, which is direct payment refund. So if you've ever had to do a client refund inside of TravelJoy, your flow has been, you need to send an email to TravelJoy and say, I need a refund. And then they get back to you, because if it's on the weekend, they're going to get back to you on Monday, and then they would process the refund and let you know. And that may take a day or 2 or 3 for you to get all of that transaction done. They now have created a self-service ability for you to do your own refunds. Go figure. That's amazing, because that just cuts out the middleman. You want to do a refund, you know where you want to do it, you know what item, you know what record, and you can do it yourself. So if you go in this help documentation, what you're going to see are some steps. Since I am actually not in a test TravelJoy account, I'm actually in a live account. I don't want to do any refunds, actually. I guess I could have done a sample. I didn't have the wherewithal to think of that. But here in their documentation is you're going to be at the payment schedule. So that's going to be at an invoice level. In an invoice, you're going to actually be at the invoice, and you're going to be at one of the payment levels, and then you're going to actually issue the refund there. So what's going to happen is you're going to review the refund, and then you're going to click refund, and you're going to refund it, and that's it. So the only additional information that you need to know about this particular feature is, let's say you're doing group funds and your group funds balance is 0. And so let's say it's $500. When you process the refund, it's processing to the same method that it got charged. So the dollars in a group fund situation went to the group fund account. Then when you refund, they need to come out of the group fund account. So if the group fund account is 0, then TravelJoy says that they will contact you on how to do that. I don't know if they're going to take it out of your account on file, if they're gonna, I don't know what they're gonna do, but that's what the documentation says. So that's the only thing to be wary of, is if you do have a refund and you've used group funds, that there will be some special handling of that refund. If it's a direct payment, however, and let's say it was $500 and you refund and the money went directly into your account, the refund will come directly out of your account. So same, just remember, wherever it came from, where the money came in will be where the money comes out. So that's really great. I do like self-service. I want to be able to do my business without interference or having to ask people's permission to do that. So I think this is a really good feature. I think this is a really good feature for me to have called out for you all as well. I already sort of went over this one, which is the day by day section. So again, I'm just going to show you really quick. Before, when you were in a proposal and prior to even having itineraries, when you added a new section, so I'm just going to add the section, you didn't have the ability to do date. So now you can add a date, which then allows the itinerary to not just have this text, it also has a date, and you can order it. Just makes the itinerary look even sexier. So that's a really cool small feature, but I think a really good call out. So when you're building your proposals in your itinerary, add the date so that it looks ordered, and then you can section out information like this. I just think that the itinerary at the end of, let me just go back to it. Do I have it? I guess I don't have it open. I think I included a sample here. Let me just open my sample. It just looks good. It just looks so good. So, you can see it here on the itinerary builder on the right-hand side. And then when you're scrolling down, you also see the sections here. And it's got this nice line. I just think this looks really good. It just looks very professional. All right, so then the next one is, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but I know that a lot of the advisors out there are doing supplier invoices. Maybe you have a constraint with your host agency. You're not supposed to be collecting funds directly for, it needs to, you just need to be doing a pass through. And so, however, if you're affiliated with me in any way, you know how I feel about charging for your services, and you should be collecting for your services. But maybe you've got a business process where you don't necessarily want to do your service fee as a separate line invoice before you do the booking. Maybe you want the invoice that you do when you did the quote, it includes a service fee, and you want to collect that on the top end. This feature is how you would do that. So let me give you sort of the scenario of that. Is you have, let's say it was a all-inclusive trip to Jamaica, and you want to include $150 design fee, planning fee on top, but you are doing a supplier invoice. How do you collect your 150, and you don't want your client to see that you added 150 for a design fee, right? How do you do all of that? How do you process and collect your 150 without it being a separate charge that your client's going to be like, what, right? You don't want it to show as a separate line item. This feature is how you do that. So I've included the help documentation. I'm going to go through this in a little bit, but I want to, again, explain to you why you care about this. This allows you to charge your agency fees, either be design fee or agency fee, and it be transparent to your client on the invoice. So you literally, if you've got a trip, the trip was $1,000, you want to put $1,050, the client sees an invoice for $1,050, not $1,000 and $150, right? So does it make sense? So and their credit card authorization is for $1,150, right? So that's the reason why you care. You can process, you'll still be able to get their credit card to process the $1,000, but then you can actually have the $150 come directly into your account. That's why you care about this one. So it's sort of sneaky is not the right word, but it's a way to manage your agency fees without it being obvious on the invoice that you've got these separate line items that cause questions and all of that. This is really a pricing conversation. If you don't know how to do this, then really how you price your trips, how you operate your business, this is really a decision that you would make before you even do this. But for those that are looking for a solution, this is a really good feature that they've added for the ability to do this. So I'm going to just go through this documentation and just sort of step you through what it means. So again, if you are new to TravelJoy and you don't know what I'm talking about, you definitely need to go through TravelJoy Basics, because I do explain the money and how TravelJoy has this distinction between supplier and direct invoice payment. This is the situation where you've cut a supplier invoice, or you want to do a supplier invoice. You want to get credit card authorization for an amount, but you want to have an additional amount that comes directly into your bank account in the event, for example, a design fee or planning fee, a plan to go fee, whatever you call it, some sort of agency fee. A good scenario of this is like if you do airline only bookings and you want to cut somebody an invoice and you charge $75 for airline tickets, right? You can include that $75 as the markup and still do a supplier invoice. So really, once you understand all this, really the way to do that is in the payment schedule when you create the invoice. You'll create the invoice, you'll create two separate line items, one, the amount that's going to go to the supplier, one that's for your planning fee, and then you need to make sure that the dates are the same, the due date is the same, and then you can set the amounts the way that you want. Once you send it for authorization to your client, the client will see. And in this example that they're doing is $1,325. You have $150 planning fee, and then $1,175 is the supplier part. Once you do this, the client's going to authorize $13.25 in this example. You'll get the authorization to charge their card for that amount. And then what you're going to do is on the line item that you want to go into your account, you're going to actually, this authorization would have existed. You're going to hit the three dots here and then select charge $150. What's going to happen is TravelJoy is going to charge $150. They're going to take their processing fee and then direct deposit that amount into your account or into the group funds account, depending on how you've got this set up. Well, you wouldn't be doing group funds if you were doing supplier invoice, not likely. Not sure, but you may be. So this, by processing it, what this is saying is that it's going to process and go into the account for that particular record, either direct deposit into your account or into the group funds account. All right, if you have any questions on that, do not hesitate to ask. I do think this is slick, so this does give people the opportunity to process a portion of an authorization and get that directly deposited into their account. This is also a good way, let's say, you are just doing supplier invoices because you don't want to handle all of the funds and you just want to do a pass through to your clients, but you want to collect your, let's say you're doing a net vendor and you want to collect your markup now and you want to process that through your credit. You don't want the vendor to manage that. This is another use case that you can use. All right. Love this feature. Love this feature. I do think it's a bit of an advanced feature for people who are independent and or charging for planning fees and that type of thing. So love the feature. I think it's a great value add. Listen, that's it. Would love your feedback. Those are all the features that I have. Now there's some additional smaller features that were released. Not they're good, they're nice value adds, but these are the major features that I wanted to go over in this edition of new features and why you care. As always, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to put them in the comments. I will answer them as I get them. And listen, happy itinerary building and happy group management inside of TravelJoy, and I'll talk to you soon. Have a great night.